Please don't blink. I will spend 60 minutes. Take you through it quickly, the entire construction process of an underground garage, and show you in detail every construction process. The first thing to do is locate the garage. We will use the entire campaign, according to the drawing data and the coordinates provided by the planning department. Quick test garage footing. Then you can rely on the test results. The excavation sideline of the machine pit has, this sideline is the upper line of the machine pit excavation. How is the upper lip calculated? The next process will answer your questions. The second construction process. After confirming the excavation edge of the garage machine pit, earthwork can be carried out. And you know what? What kind of machinery is used for earth-moving excavation? Is it a return excavator or a regular excavator? Many people answer the 24-year, one-click exam questions. The correct answer is to return the excavator. And the answer is simple. Digging the other way around is digging is the right product. Then, after the earthwork is excavated to it's about to control the elevation. The third construction process, garage pit elevation ejection. The first thing to do is to follow the construction drawings, calculate the bottom elevation of the foundation, then find the original elevation point within the venue. The level can be used at this time to do the elevation ejection work. After using the level to determine the original elevation, you can elevate according to the original elevation and the bottom of calculated the height difference between the two high scale. Detailed tutorial on elevation ejection. Fans who are interested in learning, you can click on my homepage, Measuring Payoff Box Machine. There are super detailed video tutorials in it. After the calculation of the height difference between the two elevations, you can direct the elevation to the chicken pit. At this time, Teacher Zhao was, the job of the chicken pit now is to put the tower ruler, pull it all out. Because the height difference between the 2 points is 5.2, the tower ruler has 5 sections, the length is 5 meters. So, even if you take it all out, it's impossible. What should I do at this time? At this time, the elevation will be directed to the side wall. Use the level to read the numbers on his pool, then calculate again. It can be determined that it is ejected elevation on the sidewall. At this time, the level will be taken to the foundation pit. After driving the instrument at the bottom, you can run the elevation test again. This is what people often call the elevation transfer method. Measure the payoff collection on my homepage. There is also total station the auto light teaching video. It's all about teaching from a first perspective. Visual slot. After reading the sidewall and reading, you can calculate again. The result of this calculation is the bottom elevation and the difference between the ejection elevation of the sidewall of the next. According to the calculation result, the bottom of the pit is super flat. After confirming that the elevation is correct, the excavation. At this time, some fans raised questions. Can earthwork be excavated directly to the design elevation? I told them no. Earthwork excavation to reservation of 200, then manually clear the groove to the design elevation. This is because it is necessary to prevent them. It's going to disrupt the original shape. The reserve part is to manually combine the small hook machine cleaned up to ensure that the base undisturbed diagram is not disturbed. So now a new problem has arisen. The slope of the foundation pit is sloping. How is this slope determined? Is the white line in this place a basic sideline? The distance between the baseline and the base of the slope, is there also a norm? The rule. Since this video is to demonstrate all the construction procedures of a garage project, so I want to learn the earth slope coefficient and foundation. Friend with a wide work surface, you can go to my homepage Foundation Engineering Collection. It's about soil. Super detailed explanation video of Fang Engineering. The fourth construction process. After the earthwork is completed, slope support is ready. According to the construction slope support of this season pit, it uses hanging net shotcrete. The first thing to do is to put the wire met fixed on the slope. And then you spray the concrete. Slope support is made of diluted concrete. The spray thickness should be greater than 5 cm. The fifth construction process. Measurement and payout of column piers under issue foundation. Measurement of lower pier. Based on the positional relationship with the axis, there will be clear labels on the drawings. So, how does the axis get from the drawing to the foundation pit? This process is still more complicated, sometimes long on my home. 46-minute special project explanation. Interested fans, still can go to my homepage to measure the payoff total. What I want to emphasize to you here is that kitchen lamp measurement release and mutual braking project, there are individual other it can be interspersed. This is conducive to a reasonable arrangement of improved construction efficiency. In order to give back the support of our fans, I specially set up 20 job search groups on the homepage. You can find a job or post job information for free. You can go to the group in the corresponding province to find a job. I hope I can do something for you. Things within reach. Excavation of pier under the 6th construction process. During excavation, there must be special technicians on the sidelines to ensure the accuracy of position and elevation. The slope of the lower pillar is generally 45 degrees. The thickness of the lower column pier is generally the same, so the lower pier is also called the local thickening of the skateboard. The slope of the lower pillar pier should be corrected at end pit bottom elevation and pit bottom flatness. The elevation and flatness of it is achieved by relying on the above period. So the earthwork is done. So, what's the next step in the construction process? The 7th construction process is as you can see. We are conducting lead exploration. Lead exploration is after the foundation pit excavation. According to regulations, the soil below the layer to probe, used to judge the softness and hardness of the soil, and check for pits, ancient tomb and well, air defense cover and underground projectiles. Its lead carbon should be carried out according to the whole and record in detail. The number of vertical bases of lead probes at each point for later judgment. Is there any abnormality in the soil quality? After the lead carbon, the carbon holes are also filled with sand. It needs to be explained here. Excavation front desk of Shajuden in Hubo project. These processes can be crossed. While the flick is going on, we can plug in the next process. The 8th construction process, garage footside installation. After the garage is excavated, to use the full station chair, lead the 4 foot points of the garage into the machine pit. Every foot point has to be piled. Then set up the comb again to determine the exact point. After the focal coordinate point is determined, you can use red and blue lead to sit on the mark. The next step is to hammer the nails at the corresponding point. The purpose of nailing is to last a long, clear save of coordinate points. This coordinate point, it is usually the focal point of the garage axis. This is convenient for direct driving in the later. The instrument performs axial lateral. Interested in learning how total stations measure coordinates and how to calculate the coordinates of these points, you can enter my homepage to measure the collection of payoff line. There are super detailed video tutorials in it. After the 9th construction process is completed, is it possible to pour the concrete cushion? And I tell you, no, we still have a series of processes. It's tobacco. The participants of Yanchao include the construction unit, supervision unit, design unit, geographical unit, the construction unit plus the quality inspection station. The main content of participating in Yanchao include plane position of foundation trough excavation, whether the elevation meets the requirements of survey and is there a local ancient well, vegetable cellar graves and ditches and other After passing the base route test, the next construction process can be carried out. The 10th construction process, foundation, concrete cushion pouring. Concrete electrical, it's reinforced concrete. Inner layer with foundation soil. The thickness of the concrete layer is usually 100 mm. Main function timely surface leveling. Easy to tie steel bars on it. It protects the foundation. It's all plastic concrete, no reinforcement required. The electric layer should be flattened in time during the pouring process. And cover the plastic film for the first time. To achieve water retention, the effect of preventing cracking of concrete. The above two measures, it's all done in sync with the rubber column. Only in this way can the quality of the project be guaranteed to the. Let's move on to the Q&A session. What is the lowest strength of concrete in the electric layer? No powder. Silk can post the answer in the comment area or district. Then after the electric layer pouring is, can you tie the penalty plate steel bars? The 11th construction process is to plaster the side of the lower pillar. Then why plaster the side of the lower pillar? Let's go back to the layer pouring process. By observation we can find, the slope of the lower pier is inconvenient. Poured concrete. This time, we're going to do it on the slope of the lower pier. The grinding surface is treated. For subsequent processes, create good construction conditions. After the slope treatment of the lower pillar pier is, what kind of work should I do? The 12th construction process is issued. Row foundation brick table simulation. At this time, some fans raised questions. Why valve? Do you want to use brick beach membrane as a template for the type instead of using wooden formwork? As you can see, the valve plate belongs to mass concrete pouring. When pouring concrete, the template will withstand greater lateral pressure, and the brick beach, it can better resist the pressure measurement of concrete, so as to avoid bursting during the pouring process. Does the brick platform membrane have any other Is it possible for other processes? What about creating the working surface? Now let's learn how to determine the height of the brick membrane. The first thing to do is to come to the construction drawings of the garage. Determine the thickness of the hair plate in the construction skateboard generally, the text in the lower right, detailed in the word description. So, is the height of the brick moss the thickness of the skateboard? And I tell you, no. We are also considering other construction processes. So take a look. In Article 7, there is a word. It is called after 70 waterproof and its protective layer. That is to say, in the future, on our working surface, we want to make it waterproof. There is also a waterproof protective layer. What do you mean? The thickness of the skateboard plus 70% waterproof and waterproof protective layer. Hem for 7-0. Teacher Zhao is right. Croak croak. So we just... How high? 470. Next, let's learn how to control the height of brick beach membrane. First of all, put it on the elevation indicated in advance, then use the level to read at the tower ruler. At this time, you can follow the drawing, calculate the top elevation of the brick beach film. Then you can test it once. Determine the height of the brick membrane. At this time, some fans raised questions. Since it has calculated the height of the brick membrane is 470 m, why not light up the height directly from the electrical layer? The first is that we cannot guarantee that the horizontal if the height is measured directly from the electric layer, causes accumulation of errors. So, we're going to use leveling. Measure an absolute height. Do this, it can ensure that the top surface of the brick platform membrane, it can also continuously eliminate the accumulation of. Then, after the brick stage membrane set, can it be waterproof? The 13th construction process, brick film painting. At this time someone said, isn't the brick moss film used as a template? Is there still a need to erase? Now we find a strange phenomenon. It's workers piling mortar at the bottom of the membrane on the brick plat. What kind of process is this? This is the inner corner arc processing. So why do it? I'll tell you what, this is an essential construction process. The next step will be to solve the puzzle for you. Fourteenth construction step. Basic do by SYBS sensitive asphalt waterproofing membrane before construction coil paving. The first thing to do is to spray the ionic oil. Cold bottom seed oil is pulp asphalt dilution dissolute made without hydrogen diesel or gasoline, painted on cement mortar or concrete base. As a primer, are used in the bottom layer of waterproofing projects. Cold bottom seed oil can close the capillary pores of the make the base layer waterproof. The function is to deal with the basic interface, make the base surface become hydrophobic. For bonding, similar waterproof materials create favorable conditions. After the cold bottom seed oil is sprayed, you can construct baseplate SDS modified leach, blue waterproof membrane. Waterproof baseplate. The first thing to do is to add a layer of yin and yang code for acceptance of construction quality of underground water. Clearly stipulate the width of the additional layer of yin and yang corners is and the coil is 1 meter wide. So, the roll is divided into 2 rolls. After the material is cut, it can be hot melted and, at this time, the divided roll should be folded in half. Because the width of the additional layer of yin and yang angles is it's flat. It's 250 ground 250 millimeters. SYBS modified. The green waterproof membrane is constructed by the hot velvet method. Hot fleece method construction. It is the key to ensuring the quality of the waterproof hot melt adhesive evenly heated to the bottom of the coil. Hot fleece state. The coil must be flat when pasting. No wrinkles. Make sure it fits perfectly with the grassroots. This is what we call a yort. Subinner layer and subinner layer. The stacking width between them is 100 mm. After learning the additional layer of inner, let's look at the angle of the sun again. Construction technology list of additional. What you see now is the yin and yang corners of the lower additional layer accident. Due to the fact that the yin and yang corners of the lower pillar so we stopped cutting the rolls. It would be better to use the whole roll on the overall line. The construction of additional floors still requires full yorts. This is due to the yin and yang angle arc locations that are prone to coin concentration. These parts are used in waterproofing or paving easy to crack or leak. The setting of additional layers can be effective the water resistance of these parts. So use a yort. Only in this way can we effectively resist destruction of baseplate waterproof membrane by yin and yang angle. After the construction of the additional layer is the waterproof construction of the baseplate can be carried out. Baseplate large surface. The first thing to do is roll the roll. At this time, the layout position of the coil needs to be adjusted. Make sure to press one by one. Only in this way can the lap length of the coil be guaranteed. Meet regulatory requirements. The next step is to rewind the roll. Some fans have raised questions. Why is it rolled up again? You can take a closer look at the volume. The material is only rolled in half. The purpose of this, it's for the next hot melt job. If the paving is too long at one time, it is not conducive to building width control, so roll it halfway through. Hot melt construction into installment. Different from the additional layer, a full yard is used. The large surface waterproof of the baseplate adopts an empty shop room. That is to say, the waterproof membrane is not pasted with. You only need to ensure that the hot melt plate stick it. The baseplate is waterproof. The main reason for using the empty paving method is the concrete layer is on it. After the main structure is completed, it can withstand loads of thousands of tons or even tens of thousands. As a result, the electric layer will have a large deformation. If the coil and cushion completely glued together, the deformation of the cushion will cause irreversible damage. And using the empty paving, this problem can be avoided perfectly. At this time, some fans raised questions. Since the empty shop is used, why is it still hot? This is the empty paving method and the joint points can be effectively avoided. Coils are generated during construction. Displacement. Now let's take a look. How is the overlap between the coils melted? Connected. The hot melt at this time must be fully baked with oil. Make sure there is one coil hot melt adhesive on the lap part. Then push the roller while baking to ensure that the joints are fully glued together. What you're looking at here is a long street of roll. The width of Changbian Street is 100 mm. Let's take a look at Short Side Street next. The short side street of the roll is 150 mm. The same hot melt method is used for it must be fully baked with oil to make sure the street is firmly glued together. After the construction of the waterproof membrane, what kind of work should I do? The 15th construction process waterproof protective layer. Template design. Waterproof protective layer. The template is made of wood. Wood square has steel gear, suitable for various concrete pouring of protective layer. At this time, some fans raised questions. Thickness of waterproof protective. Is it just controlled by wood? Waterproof loose powder protects the entire painter. Now it's just 65 mm 5 mm frying. Explain that this is SYBS City project. 17th construction step. Side arrangement of top elevation of waterproof protect. The top elevation control adopts the gray handle point method. The elevation control of the waterproof protective layer is because its top elevation is the base hair landmark high. Its accuracy depends on the thickness of the hair plate. Therefore, it is necessary to use instruments for at this time, the tower teeth should be placed on the do a retest. After passing the retest, the protective layer can be poured. The 18th construction process casting waterproof protective layer. And you know what? Concrete with waterproof protective. Any special requirements? Concrete during pouring. It needs to be poured and flattened. And it should be covered with plastic film in time to retain water and prevent cracks in the concrete protective layer. After the waterproof protective layer is poured, can it be tied to the penalty plate steel bar? The 19th construction process foundation engineering surveying release. Different from the previous use of one-stop positioning, garage foothold coordinates. The theodolite is used for this measurement. There are test axes in turn, frame main edge, resume wall side line. That is to say, this time, the line should be positioned to a location of construction. What you're seeing now is testing the east, western axis using theodolite. Test a point every 5 meters or so. After completing the point test of the x-axis in the east-west, you can test the outer axis in the north-south direction. You can take the theodolite off now. The focus of driving on the axis and the axis. Before the instrument is first use the ink bucket. Pop X outward axis focus. This is the x-axis. Next, it will appear in the outer direction of the bolt. Ejection of axis, based on the point tested by the theodolite just now. This moment, you can drive the instrument at the focus of the axis, then lock the point on the long axis. Then you can reset the angle of the instrument to 0. Then rotate the short direction outer axis of the attachment side by 90. Architecture. The basic principle of measurement is to eliminate the accumulation. After the attachment, you can follow these two axes. The other axes were measured. The relationship between the axis and there are clear labels on the drawings. It only needs to be based on the size and position. You can use a large ruler, quick positioning on an axis parallel to it. See the marker at the dimensional position corresponding to the axis. Then measure again at the other end of the foundation, out of this point on the axis. In order to reduce the accumulation of errors caused by repeated, according to the measurement principle of 2 points form a line, we still have to drive into the displacement to determine the midpoint of this axis. At this time, you can use the ink bucket single line. Next, you can follow the position of pillars and relationship. Measure the position of the frame column and spring the thread. Then spray at the 4 corners where you live. Apply red paint. Marking foundation engineering survey payoff. Full video on my homepage measurement payoff collection. Here we go. Let's learn the next construction process together. The 20th construction step. Issue the steel bar binding of the bead pier under the foundation. What you are seeing now is the reluctance of the ring-shaped gold. This is the latest 2RG rebar assault practice. Use horizontal. Gold replaces the traditional horizontally distributed steel bar. The application of ring-fixed gold will greatly enhance integrity of construction. So, the binary atlas will be the main, redefined as French version, local thickening. Partial thickening of French. After the ring-fixed gold layout is completed, can be laid. Partially thickened bottom internet trolls. First, lay the low-level force in the X. Then it is not subject to the force of the outside wind. Then do you know why it is X first and then crooked? After the rebar shot is complete, you can proceed with the binding operation. Then the foundation builds steel. Is it necessary to? Each intersection is tied firmly. You can enter the comment section or bullet comment area. I'll be there after all the French rebar is done. I'll give you a summary. At this time, there will be no footsteps to radiate steel bar. Radiating steel bars are the latest practice of surprise attacks. This is also different from 16, one of the methods of steel assault. It is about the number of step shoots of radioactive, how to determine the cutting length, and why the bottom tendons shoot in the extra backstepping outward. In my homepage Foundation Engineering, there is super detailed analysis in it. The 21st construction process valve foundation reinforcement construction. The first thing to do is to not give up the penalty plate steel bar with bottom gold and area. What you see now, it's the reluctance to be found at the bottom. The bottom gold of the penalty plate is further divided into X term. So, is it not the X term first? or is it extra? As you can see, what is not set first is the bottom. That's what it looks like under about long direction steel bars, or the arrangement of short directional steel bars. There has always been a big controversy. You can comment or bullet comment. Let's discuss it first. I will go to the construction site later. Give a detailed explanation for everyone. At this point, we will find a problem. The stressed steel bars are arranged according to one length, and what's the point of that? Just to stagger the streets of steel. This avoids steel bars from being connected at the same location. French stressed steel bar lap percentage should not exceed 50%. The long and short arrangements shown to you in the video. That's 50% lapping. The long-term steel bar is not completed. Next, you cannot set short like steel bars. That's the outward progression. During video recording, deeply appreciate the gap between workers. Let's pay tribute to the workers together. Everyone pays tribute to the most beautiful workers. Send it to the screen. At this time, some fans will ask, why did the worker put the steel bars so scattered? This is because before the baseplate rebar reluctance, workers will follow the drawing spacing, draw the layout points in advance. Friends who are interested in learning, you can click on the homepage Basic Engineering Collection Learning. After the outward rebar is laid, you can tie it up. Add electric speed to the baseplate steel bar before binding. The height of the electric fast is directly related to the electric. When there is no electric layer, the thickness of the protective layer is 70 mm. The thickness of the protective layer when there is an electric layer is 40. Obviously, our foundation has an electrical layer, so the height of the electric speed is 40 mm. After the catapult is completed, you can tie the bottom of the penalty board. When binding, make sure every intersection is firmly entrenched. I often have private messages from which components can be skipped and tied. The controversy over this issue, it's always been there. You can enter the comments section between the secretary. I will go to the construction site later. Do a detailed analysis for everyone. After completing the binding operation of the bottom gold you can do without maddened steel. The technical term for maddened steel is steel support. During the one-click exam, don't get it wrong. After the steel support feet are not set, it should also be firmly tied together with the bottom tendons. So, is there any size requirement for the shape of the steel support foot? The length of the bottom of the foot, usually larger than the arrangement spacing of the penalty plate. If the arrangement spacing of the bottom towel is 200 mm, the length of the bottom of the foot is generally 250 mm. The width of the top of the legs is usually equal to the distance. What about the height of the foot support? How to calculate it? What does he have to do with it? All are welcome to speak. We learn from each other. Common progress. After the kidnapping is completed, you can set no penalty board area. Attentive fans will keenly detect a problem. It is gluten reluctance that is different from bottom gold. Gluten is without short direction steel bars. This is the exact opposite of the reluctance of the bottom gold. Everyone must remember, whether it's penalty board construction or is it floor line crossboard construction, the layout of base gold and area is always opposite. After the short direction steel bars, you can lay steel bars. No matter the bottom or the area, the streets are staggered. In principle, 100% street is straight. After the gluten shot is completed, it can be bound, same as the bottom. Make sure to tie every intersection point. Then the construction of the penalty plate is completed. If relevant knowledge points are missed, you can ask questions in the comment area. I will answer every question carefully. The 22nd construction step. Does anyone know what kind of work this is doing? The following is our basic project. Release stage, the positioning line of the frame column. Now all you have to do is use a pendant. Put the positioning line of the frame ejecting vertically onto the hairboard gluten. This is also an independent construction process. We usually call it hanging wire. Every construction process, the wisdom of the laborers is condensed. 23rd construction process frame. Live basic gold. The first thing to do is to bind and locate the solid. The positioning solid gold is composed of 3 solitary. This is the so-called compound solid gold. Do you know what is the art of solitary gold? After the positioning of the orphan gold combination, you can put it in the position of the frame column and thus deal with. These white markers are the edges of the frame posts. Then you can tie it up. To tie the positioning solitary gold to the valve, tie together. After the positioning of the orphan gold binding is, the frame column can be inserted into the gold. The gold in the frame column should start with the footsteps. After the longitudinal reinforcement, it should be tied and fixed in time. The intersection point with the gluten bottom tendon must be tied. The next step is to check the gold in turn and tie it up in. And you know what? Note longitude. What is the length of this bend at the bottom of the rib? If the thickness of the skateboard is, if the longitudinal steel bar is, the length of the bending section is 6 times and greater than or equal to 150. If the thickness of the skateboard does not satisfy the appearance, the length of the bending section is 15 times. Pay attention to the binding of the bending section at the bottom should not be less than 3 knives, to ensure that the longitudinal reinforcement is firmly rooted in the foundation. At this time, we will keenly find out. There are 2 more reinforcement tendons in the due to the total duration. Excessive subtraction is not allowed here. Friends who are interested in learning, you can click on my homepage. There is super detailed analysis in the basic engineering collection. Completed the foundation insertion diameter of the long. After that, the stem of the frame column can be fixed. The order of setting the stems is first lateral closed stock. Then cover the inner closed stem. You can use the river tooth at this time. Solitary gold spacing according to the drawing. The solitary gold spacing point is marked on the Joe chanting sutures. At this time, the pillar is tied to a closed solid gold at half height. When tied to the frame post in this position for the purpose of fixed longitudinal reinforcement of constrained frame, position the longitudinal meet the drawing point requirements. Then everyone knows that. What is the most important function of gold? After the frame column is plugged in, you can start the resume wall construction insert. 24th construction step. Resume wall construction foundation insert before several steel bars are inserted into the resume wall. The resume wall should be laid with horizontal steel bars first. And first and foremost, horizontal steel bars that are not built into the foundation. Its function is to fix the vertical steel bar, and together with the vertical reinforcement, it forms a two-way reinforced mesh. Resume strong level reinforcement at the What is the number of installations in it? To 2 grams steel assault clearly stipulated. The amount of horizontal reinforcement in the not less than 2, and the spacing between the horizontal bars not larger than 500 mm. If the spacing between 2 horizontal bars it's bigger than 500 mm, an additional horizontal steel bar is added for every larger than 5. After not setting the medium and horizontal steel, you can set no foundation. The above part of the resume wall horizontally reinforced. You can take a closer look. The horizontal steel bar of the resume wall should go through. This video is not just to show you the construction process. Instead, it shows the construction technology and construction skills, construction process. The purpose of cost from afar, it is to grasp every construction detail. For every fan who follows me, make due contributions. Then why lay out the horizontal rebar first? This is because it needs to be fixed. I'll show you later. Then it can be half high in the frame. Kidnapping a resume wall level internet trolls. This kidnapping height should be determined according to the height of the worker to facilitate kidnapping construction. Things that require special emphasis. This horizontal steel bar is a temporary fixing measure. It will still be demolished later. After all the basic preparations are completed, then the difference of strong components can be carried out. Strong components are divided into horizontal and vertical reinforcement. During foundation construction, make sure the vertical reinforcement is firmly rooted in the foundation. 1 foot low. Whether the building construction is effectively connected to the is particularly important. At this point we will find resume. There are also bending sections at the bottom of the vertical steel bar. How to calculate the length of this bending section? Insert tightly at the same frame. You can observe, after the gold insertion position is adjusted, first of all, it has to be at half set of horizontal steel bar. Do stray. This is a temporary fixing measure for strong components. We usually refer to strong gold insertion as a construction process, but set up horizontal steel bars as temporary fixing measure. We call it the construction technique. Then you can go in sequence. Secure the intersection of vertical and horizontal steel bars. Let's enjoy the process of inserting gold together. The gold insert on the outside of the resume. Here you can insert it on the inside of the resume wall. Again, no horizontal reinforcement. Then the injection is carried out in sequence. Here, the set of strong tensile tendons is also a temporary. At this point we will find there are also short vertical steel bars on the. This is the resume wall with additional steel bar. Adding steel bars is a local strengthening measure for the resume wall. Resume walls are usually used for underground structures. We also call it a retaining wall. Relevant technical parameters of additional steel. There will be clear labels on the drawings. If there is anything unclear, you can ask questions in the comment area. I will answer every question carefully. Resume hard plug completed. Twenty-fifth construction step. Locate the edge of the resume wall, or use the restricted line adjust. Lead the side line of the resume wall to the area of the hairboard. The plugins are all done. Why are you still disconnected? Everyone can actively discuss in the comment area. I'll show you in a moment. Twenty-sixth construction step. Basement exterior wall water stop steel plate construction. The first thing to do is not to set a water stop steel plate. After the juice steel plate is laid, it's ready to weld. The size of the juice steel plate is usually 300 mm. The thickness of the steel plate is 3 mm. The length is usually 3 meters. The lap length between the water stop steel plates is 2 cm. This is an underground waterproofing product. The construction quality acceptance specification clearly but in actual construction, usually it will be made into a lap length of 5 cm. These are some fake room requests. Water stop steel plates usually require welding on. Let's look at it from a different perspective. This is the welding on the other side. At this time, some fans raised questions. Isn't this two-sided welding? Where did the four-sided welding come from? Take it easy everyone, I will do a detailed analysis later. There is also baseplate tape on my homepage. Roof back tape. Detailed explanation video of the tape water stopping steel plate. Fans who are interested in learning, you can click on the homepage to watch. 27th construction step. Does anyone know what this is doing? This is assembling the basement facade concrete. Flip through the template. We also call it an inverted wall template. While making the template, Other construction measures can be interspersed. Here's what you see. 3-stage water stop screw for exterior wall is being. This is the diagram of the 3-stage water stop screw. Due to the waterproof requirements in the basement, so every possible point of leakage, corresponding technical measures will be taken. After the water stop screw is in place, the template can be installed. Then why is it there? This place makes this template because according to the requirements of the basement, the exterior wall should be equipped with a 300 mm. The purpose of installing a guide wall on the wall is to will follow construction joint flow generated by concrete set on the outer wall, and no water steel plate is set in the center of the guide wall. Therefore, in every construction to control engineering quality. Every worker deserves praise. Let's put damn my workers in the bullet comment section. The outer wall sideline that was shot is the basis for weaving. Here we go. Please ask the blogger to explain to you the skateboard. Is it short down? It's still a long-term problem. First of all, we must determine what is the long direction of the sliding basis. What is short direction? This direction is called the long direction. Long is long. Short is short. Right. Okay. So let's take a look now. Arrangement rules of steel bars at the bottom of our valve foundation plate. This direction is long and down. This direction is short. Short up. Slow down. Alright. That is to say, we are now issue foundation bottom steel bars. It's long down, short up. Generated a lot of controversy. Many people say the design is not clear. It's not specified in the atlas. How dare you do that? What's your basis? Then today we will talk to you, thoroughly explain the problem. G 901 bar 3. There are clear instructions in the lower left corner. Cross longitudinal steel bars on the same level of foundation slab. Consolidated heavy money is on. The joint fund is under. It should be specified according to the specific design. When the design is not specified, according to the length of the plate, place the bar in the short hip direction on the back and outside of the plate. The steel bar in the other direction is placed on the back and inside. What do you mean? That is, when the design is not famous. Short hip reinforcement is down. Well, yes, someone said it. Didn't you say it all? Short hip reinforcement is down. Why did you put the face steel below? At this point, we have to figure out what is a hip pair. Hips and directions are different, right? Like this pillar. What do we call this pillar? A pivot is called a pivot pair. It can also be called a pillar. Okay, let's take a look at this. What is this? Another pillar? Fulcrum or support? You don't move. Then your camera follows me. What is this? Pillar fulcrum. Bearing. To supports, the two pivots form one piece, right? Take a picture with him over there. Good photo back. Form a piece of him and him. Form a piece. Then we need to make sure. This piece to that place. Come back to this piece. And this hip. Which one is the long hip? Which one is the short hip? Big ruler. Step back. Yeah. Put it probably in production. How much is 7 meters 8? 7 meter 8. 7 meter 8. This piece is 7 meter 8. How much is this piece? 5 meters 65 meters 6. Which one is the short hip? This is a short hip. This is a long hip. Right, come. The camera goes this way, often this way. Go that way. This, slant back, Go further this way, right. That is to say, this is a short span. This is a long span. Can you get a picture of that pillar? This is a long span. I saw it very clearly on the ground just now. Short span reinforcement is under. That is, in this direction, the hole is short hip. So the short hip reinforcement is down. As for us skateboarding, it is the long-term steel bar down. Got it. Because this is the long direction. This is the long direction. This is the long direction. This is the short direction. This is the short direction. But in this direction, it forms the long hip. This direction, it forms the short hips. So the short hip reinforcement is down. It is the long-term steel bar down. The problem is probably a big controversy in the engineering. Today we are based on the assault and the seam. The explanation is clear. Then next, let's enjoy French version of concrete pouring. 28th construction step. Valve core foundation concrete pouring. Now everyone knows what the spool foundation is. The spool foundation has double layers. Flat foundation of two-way reinforced mesh. It is mainly used to bear the load of the main structure above ground. Yes. So the release foundation is not earthquake resistant. The French version is not earthquake resistant. If there is a different opinion, everyone can discuss in the comment area. The pouring of the French plate belongs to the pouring of mass concrete, large volume. The order of concrete pouring generally follows the progress as far as adopt layering, continuous pouring construction during when using pumped concrete. The thickness of the concrete pouring layer should not be greater than 5. Concrete pouring of guide section of basement exterior wall. To follow the pouring progress of the base plate, during the pouring process, it should be knocked down and it is necessary to ensure the compactness of the concrete. The 29th construction step. The measurement line of the foundation construction. You might have a question. Why measure the positioning square repeatedly? Haven't you finished inserting the gold pillar into the wall? Just follow these builds and work your way up. The purpose of repeated measurement, positioning, and payoff. The first is to eliminate the accumulation of air, because during the concrete pouring process, individual steel members may be displaced. Measuring the payoff can find this problem. That's when you can take the technology. Measures to amend. The second function of measuring the release line is to provide a wall panel construction. The board system provides the location basis. What you're looking at here is side firing on the axis. After completing the axis lateral shooting, just upper column members and shafts according to construct positional relationship of line. The edge and control line of the column member are measured. According to the test results, it can be nothing happened to this cast member. Here we go. We can test the control lines of the frame columns. And you know what? Why is there already a frame column edge? Do you want to test the control line again? What is the function of the control line? The main control line of the frame of the wooling line is used. The control line of your project. It's a caling line again. So let's take a look at the technologist. The fruits of one's labor. Edge and control lines of resume wall components. The same approach is used. I won't show you too much here. If you want to learn the detailed discharge process, you can go to my homepage. There are detailed video tutorials. My homepage still took 4 years to build. A resume wall, video presentation of all construction steps of the structure, and all the construction processes of the frame structure. Video display. Click on the video at the top of the homepage. The 30th construction step. Tie to frame pillar solitary gold. The first thing to do is put the orphaned gold on the frame column according to the specified amount. This amount is based on the solitary gold determined by column height. The setting order of composite solitary gold is still posteromedial. After the number of assist gold sets meets the design requirement, you can move to the approximate location in batches. Then temporarily tie and fix it. Then use the river ruler. Measure the binding position of Gyujin, and pay a lot of money according to the spacing of the drawing. Seat size mark. Then you can tie it up. The first thing to tie is to note some solitary gold. Then move the orphans in turn and tie them. Lonely gold in the make sure every intersection with Zongjin is firmly entrenched. About the bending angle of solitary gold, the length of the bending section and the direction of the opening, etc. There are detailed videos on my homepage. You can also find books in the comments section. The 31st construction process binds and cuts resumed strong steel bar. The first thing to do is to follow the construction drawings. The horizontal reinforcement space. The painting is set on the steel bar of the wall. Next, you cannot set the horizontal steel bar. It is important to emphasize here that horizontal steel bar is for basement exterior. It is on the inside of the vertical steel bar. This is different from the basement interior wall and above ground structure resume wall steel bar row irregular. Resume strong level steel bar layout after you can set the tie steel bar. The design spacing of this set of drawings is 400 mm. How are your tie bars arranged? Then you can tie it up. To ensure heavy, every intersection between the gold is firmly. The tie steel bar should also be effectively tied with heavy gold. Resume strong steel bar reluctant. What should I do when I'm done? The 32nd construction step. Set up the inner support system of the form. The first thing to do is to set up the pole crossbar. First, set up the framework that supports the system. Next, you can put it on the bamboo pole that you are according to regulatory. Scratch the bar spacing in turn. So the support system in the template is complete. The 32nd construction step. Garage cap formwork. The first thing to do is to lay a wooden square. The wooden squares laid are used to support the formwork. The laying range of wooden square. It is slightly larger than the bottom area of the lower bamboo. After the wooden square is laid, you can follow the drawing size. The bottom template for installing the cap has been processed and made. The installation of the template should adjust the line and correct after the position is correct. Adjust the elevation position. When the elevation is adjusted to meet the design requirements, you can fix the nails. So, one of the functions of laying wooden squares is to fix the formwork. About how to adjust the line of the bottom template. How to determine the base template elevation. Due to the length of the video, I won't go into too much detail here. All garage-related processes. We will make a special project detailed video. Every construction process will make everyone aware. Know why. Let's enjoy it together. The change between sizes of this time and space process. The 33rd construction process. Garage roof direct exposure. The 34th construction process is tie the Jew's steel bar. Most of the current underground garages use Jew's structure. In that case, it can greatly improve the use space of the garage. After Jew's steel bar binding is complete, you can tie the beam and steel bars. The 35th construction process lashing beams to construct steel bars. This beam is a garage roof press beam, not in the traditional sense of frame beam press beam, completely hidden within the garage roof. It doesn't take up garage space. The 36th construction step. Lay garage roof rubber plate bottom steel bar. The first thing to be laid is the X direction plate bottom steel. Then not the outer bottom steel bar. If you want to learn these processes, all the knowledge points, you can go to my home. There are super detailed explanation videos. The 37th construction process water and electricity pre-burial. In order to make something for detailed water and electricity installation, live streaming hosting took a record while learning. We have made a super detailed installation explanation video for you fans who are interested in learning. You can click on the home page to watch. Pre-burial. You can tie and smash the rubber plate in front of you. The 38th construction step. Lashing line, rubber plate, nail. The 39th construction step. Garage wall column roof concrete pouring. The 40th construction step removes the formwork. Next, let's take a look at the board. Looks like it's been removed. The 41st construction process garage waterproofing project. Do you remember the 14th construction step? That is, the waterproof construction of the base plate. Base plate waterproof and exterior wall and base plate waterproof will be complete. Tightly wrap the underground garage, forming an unbreakable waterproof system. About base exterior. How is the waterproofing membrane connected between the top plates? There is a connection video on my homepage. Garage engineering process completed. Want to learn resume. Wall structure for all construction processes of residential or frame structure. All construction processes of the office building. The video at the top of my homepage is. Thanks for watching.